My surgery was extensive. It was about a 4-hour surgery, and we did a facelift, a neck lift, extended neck lift. We did a full face fat transfer. We did an upper and lower blepharoplasty, which is for the eyes, and then a lateral brow lift, and also a really deep laser resurfacing that they call the contour TRL. I'd always kind of been interested in surgery because from the time I hit 30, it always seemed like my eyes started to show, not necessarily age, but sort of a fatigue look. So I started to get some of that bagging and shadowing, and I found myself constantly putting makeup on in a way to get rid of the shadows. And so I thought maybe down the line it's something I would do. And then the timing came, around, and it was like a perfect opportunity. Everything came together at the right time. I was able to do the downtime and recover. Came together at the right time. I was able to do I just really felt like Dr. Carmel was the right doctor. I just really felt like really scary was the right doctor. Hollywood weird. Really people have all the money in the world. Hollywood weird. People have all the money in the world. It's really scary to make that choice. But with him, I felt like I was really scary to make that choice. Before and afters are mind blowing. I was really comfortable. The biggest part about before and afters are mind blowing. Natural, and so I felt like about it is it looks completely if at any time in any doctor, and so I felt like the right time. If at any time in any doctor, then this is the right time. Before I left the house, my husband has not been really excited or on board about this whole thing. He was very concerned about my well-being. My husband has not been really excited or on board about this whole thing. He was very concerned about my well-being, even though he knows his work and has seen the before and after things going wrong. Because it was me, he was very concerned. And even though he knows my hand as I was walking out the door before and after, don't go because it was me. Can we just not do it? And he held my hand as I left, and I was worried about him more than anything. Can we just for myself, I was really comfortable. I feel like all the T's were crossed, and the I's were dotted, and everything was. I felt really prepared for what was to come. So I was very relaxed, and I was with my mom, and she and I always have a really good time. So we were just joking around and relaxed and groovy. The recovery, wow, I guess the first thing is the most shocking. The first time you see yourself in the mirror. Even though you see the pictures, you know what you're supposed to look like. It's a little nutty. I mean, you really don't look anything like yourself. There's a lot of swelling with the laser. There's a lot of pinpoint bleeding. There was a little bit of bruising as well. And so the first few moments of seeing yourself, you're like, whoa, okay, this is going to be a little bit of a recovery. But I felt confident that everything was going to turn out in the end. So I really wasn't that concerned. And I had my mom with me, and I think that also put me at ease because she knew as well. So her energy mixed with mine, it actually just ended up being kind of a fun process. We joked around, we made fun of it. We said, you look like an alien, you look like a baseball, and all these crazy things. But all in all, I feel like the recovery went really, really well, really easy. I said the first day is the most shocking. It's when you look the craziest. It looks like you were in a boxing match and then lit on fire because of the laser. But once you get past that, it's really just about the care. You just have to be very careful about how you're taking care of yourself throughout that beginning week. The first few days especially, you can't wash your face, which is kind of uncomfortable because it just feels icky. But I didn't feel any pain. I maybe felt a little bit of dull aching, and that was always alleviated by the medications, which by day 5, I was all done with those. And I felt like as soon as I was able to wash my face, the skin already immediately started to take form, and then the swelling, as soon as the swelling after the first week started calming down, day 4 and 5 it kind of peaks, and then it starts to really calm down. And once it started to turn the corner about week 1, I feel like everything started to happen really fast. The swelling went down, the skin repaired, and it all just started coming together really quickly. And then by week 3, it was the first time I was really wearing makeup and, just letting it all settle basically. And my husband looked at me and he said, wow, you look really good. And so then that gave me the feeling of, wow, this is going really well. I'm really excited about how the results are going to go from here. So the 3rd week is where I started to look the most normal. Week 4, super normal. Still breaking down with swelling and things like that. But overall, I mean, the process has been pretty uncomplicated and easy to take care of yourself, just a little time consuming. And I feel like each day it gets better. Like even now, I'm still going into my 6th month post-recovery. I still have little things that are changing. The fat transfer itself, I think, is starting to come back in and fill in a little bit more slowly over time. So it's still changing. It hasn't even been, a year yet. And they say you can change within a whole year. Things can shift. So I'm still experiencing that and loving it, absolutely loving it. I think one of the things that surprised me most is how easy everything was. I was expecting some pain. I was expecting discomfort. It just, to me, that was one of the most surprising things, and also some of the results that came into play. I think that I was focused on certain things and certain corrections, but when I looked at the neckline and how he had transformed that area, that to me was the biggest shock, the biggest wow factor in my mind, because I didn't realize how heavy I was getting in that area. The fat pad was kind of getting, it was growing quite a bit as I aged, and the skin laxity, the tightness in the skin was a really big wow factor to me as well. What was really wonderful about it was the experience that I had with the staff as well. Dr. Karam's staff is incredible. He's really done a phenomenal job picking the people that work for him. They made everything feel comfortable. I never had a question that wasn't answered. I never was made to feel like I was asking too many questions. They always put my mind at ease and always made me feel welcome and at home. So that was amazing as well. In the beginning, before surgery, I had my moments, and especially my husband, of really, he didn't want me to do it, hands down. Absolutely did not want me to do it. And he even continued to ask me up until, the day before, do you still want to do this? Are you still excited? If you do, please don't do it for me. You don't have to do it for me, which I thought was very sweet and touching. And for me, I had a couple of moments that surprised me where I was thinking, am I ready? Is this too soon? Am I jumping ahead of the gun? But I feel like it was all the right time. It kind of happened the way it was supposed to. And now that I've gone through this whole process, I would say, I would really encourage someone who has a thought in their mind of something that they would like to change, not because they'd feel bad about themselves, but just because it would make them more connected to who they are in the inside. Like for me, I have a very lively, active lifestyle. I'm full of life. I have tons of boundless energy, and I felt like my face wasn't matching the woman I felt like on the inside. And so now I feel like that has changed, and it's actually motivating me to take better care of my body now, get my body in check, start, working on that and bringing it up to the level where I feel like my face is now, catch it all up together to match the person inside. So it was just overall a really amazing experience, and I think that if someone's considering something, they should see Dr. Karam and at least have a consultation and hear what he has to say. It's weird, you always think that surgeons are gonna have this sort of cool and almost disconnect when they talk to you, but Dr. Karam's bedside, he's very relaxed, he's very natural, he's such a California guy, and it's just like having a conversation with your buddy or your friend. He has a very comforting, cool, but very natural way of talking to you. It doesn't sound too clinical. He says things in a way that are easy to understand. What I loved about him is I felt like not only did he listen to what my concerns were, he was able to tell me how each adjustment that he was talking about was going to make that shift that I was looking for. So it was very easy to put together his vision for what he was seeing so that I can understand where we were going with everything. And that was really amazing. I wasn't expecting that. I don't think there's anything really I would change about my experience. I might have maybe done things a little sooner, because what I'm understanding now is that it wasn't too soon for me. And that was one of the thoughts I had. One of the things that almost held me back is that, oh, it's too soon. I'm 45. Why am I doing it at this age? But Dr. Karam was able to explain that it's not just about correcting. In fact, it's better to be preventative. If you can get ahead of things early on, you're going to age gracefully. It's like buying that beautiful home or that expensive car and making sure that you tune it up, making sure you change the oil, making sure that you buff it out and keep everything in check. It's the same as with your face and volume loss and all these things that were happening to my skin because of sun damage and other things. Now I feel like my aging process is going to be so much slower and so much more graceful than just letting things go and then trying to overhaul the whole thing. So I think that if anything, maybe I would have tried some of these procedures a little younger, and maybe I wouldn't have had to have the full facelift. Maybe I wouldn't have had to have the whole neck lift. Maybe I would have been able to keep everything intact the way it was if I had taken better care of my skin. There's been a few little things that have happened along the way. Like I said before with my husband, there was that week 3, and I wasn't quite sure how he was feeling The whole reason why I didn't see him for the first 6 days is I knew he was very protective and very nervous, and I wanted to be in that healing experience. It was positive energy, everything's okay, you're gonna get better each day. But if I was with him, he would have been very worried and looking at it going, oh, I don't like it looks weird, you know. And so that would have made me worry about him, and you know, I would be doing a slower healing probably. So I think that the really big turnaround for him was week 3 when I finally started putting on my makeup again, and I came out of the bathroom and he said, you look really good, honey. And it was the first affirmation he'd given me that I was starting to look like me and starting to look normal, and that he actually found it attractive. So that was a big turning point for this experience, because I was really worried about how he was feeling about my looks, but I didn't want to push it. Another thing that happened is I have a girlfriend who's very much into taking care of herself, and she knew that I was going to go through with these procedures, and she hadn't seen me yet, and she hadn't seen me really through the healing process. So I went to see her for dinner, and she just looked at me and her just jaw dropped, and I've known her for 20 some odd years, and she just went, oh my God, you look amazing. You look like you did when I first met you. She's like, you're so lucky, you're so lucky, you're so fortunate. And so that was really amazing. And I keep having these experiences, and the most wonderful thing about it is I'm open, and I love talking about it. I love to share my story. And I feel like if someone who might have been afraid in the beginning because of all the other scary stuff out there, if I can be one of those people that they come in contact with, and they know I had an amazing experience, and they can see that those results are real, that they really happen, they're very natural, maybe I'll be able to help someone else make that decision for themselves.